And that surgeon that worked on him the first time was there. And she decided to get a whole bunch of other doctors and ethical people involved while I was at work and his mom was at my house. Nobody was at the hospital with Travis because it happened like early in the morning when they noticed the blood. Um, and she deemed him medical futile and she took his um, code status, which was full code, and switched it to DNR due to ethics.
What?
And yeah,
Without any
That's
other family being there?
nope, nope.
sounds
Interesting.
illegal. Sounds
Just
illegal to me. Welcome to You Never Know. I'm Jake Handel here with my co-host, Big A.
Hello.
Why don't you say what up or celebrate
What I
sometimes?
did. Yay!
And we are here with Ashley, and Ashley's gonna tell us what's going on in her life right now and for a while. But maybe before that, you can give us some background on you, where you're at, how old you are, if you want to share that, and tee this up, and then we'll get into it.
okay, yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I just want to say that I think your story is like amazing and an inspiration to people who are going through situations like I am right now, and it just brings us a lot of hope. So I just wanted to first say thank you. Um,
Well, thank you.
I am originally from New Jersey, and I lived there until like 2017 with Travis, and Travis is who I came on here to talk about today. We had a daughter in 2012, and she turned 13 this February. Um, and we moved to Vermont, which is where I am now, in 2018, the winter of. So we kind of had like one normal year, and then COVID happened. And so, February of this year, our daughter turned 13, and there was one day, and then her dad went into the hospital the next day, and that's where the journey like begins with where I am now. So yeah,
That's tough. I want to get into this. Are you guys married?
no, we were engaged when we were younger. We met in high school, so we're like high school sweethearts. Um, and and then we broke up when my daughter was like 1, so we kind of like separated, but then we got back together when she was around like 4 and a half. And then we've been together kind of ever since then. Um, so we're like in a domesticated partnership, I guess you
I
could
mean, for sure,
say.
that's kind of what marriage is, I suppose. High school sweethearts, that's, amazing. So yeah, tell me a bit about Travis and then where everything kind of changed.
Yeah. So it's weird because like Travis and you have a lot of similarities. Like you're both like he loves the Grateful Dead, he loves fish. Like he's had a lot of the same like life as you, I would say. So like when it happened to Travis, I was like looking and I found you and I was like, what the heck? Like not only is like the situation kind of the same, but also like the personality is also very similar. So it was just weird like correlations there. But in February, on February 3rd, Travis went to large hospital in Vermont um, because he was having like huge pain on his left side. It felt like he had been shot. And he was also like having some other symptoms and stuff. So it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And they were like, okay, come in. You have to come in. He kept putting it off. He felt like if he went to the hospital, something really, really bad was going to happen to him. He was having like nightmares about it and was like, no, like I can't go there. And it was happening for months. And he was also going through a really hard time and had started drinking a lot. So he was dealing with alcoholism. And so he went to the hospital to detox and also see someone about this pain on the side of it. And so he went in around 9 o'clock in the morning. No, he went in at 11. Last drink was at 9. And around 5:40, he was sitting in the emergency department this whole entire time. And then at around 5:40, he was transferred to a unit to take care of him up there. And he was admitted.
Was he
Uh,
was he in the waiting room, or he already went through triage in the ER department, or
he went through like the ER department and then I think through triage, but that whole time he was kind of like waiting for a bed to open.
yeah?
Um, and then so he finally got up to this place where they were going to help him. And and then around 7 o'clock, still nothing, no phenobarbital or what, however you say that.
Phenobarbital.
Phenobarbital, thank you.
Yep.
What is that for myself and others who don't know what it is? I'm sure Adrian's a nurse. I'm sure she can tell us.
Yeah, it's they use it to help people withdraw off alcohol. Its main purpose is to protect you against a seizure, which is like a main concern coming off alcohol. But yeah, it's a barbiturate. Helps with the symptoms, protects you from a seizure.
Yeah, so he never had it. And um, I actually was working that day, so I couldn't be there because it happened on a Monday. So I was getting ready to call him. And when I was getting ready to call him, I actually got a call from the hospital. And they said, hey, we have Travis Burke here. He was found unresponsive on the floor. There's a huge gash on his head. We don't really know what happened. Nobody saw him fall. But we think it was alcohol withdrawal seizure.
There you go.
So
And
so during so he's in the room, no one's in the room. They come in the room and he's out of bed, gash on the head.
yep, found on the floor unresponsive. So they say he was probably unresponsive for about 5 minutes, but that's what they're guessing. They don't really know how long he was unresponsive for. Um, so they did CPR, they got him back, but he did flatline, and he did have significant loss of oxygen to his brain. So, but after he came back, he was transferred up to MICU. And he was up there and he was like responding to us, like, nodding yes and no, still moving all of his limbs, was like, and he was fully fine before all of this. It was just those two things that he wanted to see someone for. Um,
But couldn't verbally respond.
he couldn't verbally respond because he got intubated.
Got it.
So, but we would be like, hey, do you remember this memory? And he'd be like, yes. Like, so like we were asking those kinds of questions because we were worried because we were like, oh, if he had a lack of oxygen for they don't even know how long, like what is happening in the brain. Um, so then two days go by, I think, and he's like doing good. But then all of a sudden he starts bleeding like crazy from all over. And we were like,
Wow.
what is happening? And then they found out that one of his small bowels had necrotized. So part of his colon died. And so they had to go in and do emergency surgery. He had to have 3 different surgeries. And after the last surgery, he fell into a coma and he was never the same after that. Um,
That
And they just have
were
no idea what was causing any of it.
were
no,
were you there with this like bleeding from every orifice? That
it was
must have
so
been
scary.
scary as fuck.
It was so scary. And they like had him, sedated and stuff. So he didn't know, which was good. But like it was really scary for us to see him like that. Um, and I feel bad because our daughter saw him like that. We didn't know how he was gonna look. So um I'm sorry, there's like so much to this. It gets like even crazier. Um,
I get it.
so yeah, you know.
I do know. Yeah. So after this, went surgery and then was unresponsive.
Right. So after that third surgery, which happened to be Valentine's Day too, before that, he was passing all of his breathing trials. He was about to get extubated, like he was doing great. And then he had that last surgery. And then the next morning, he was failing within like not even a minute. Like it was like as soon as they put him on the breathing trial, he was failing. And then he slowly stopped responding to stimulation from the legs all the way up. And so we were like, what is happening? And we were freaking out. And they did MRIs. There was nothing on the brain scans that showed any type of thing that he was presenting. Um, I think the first 2 or 3 MRIs looked completely normal, but then they would do the physical bedside exam. It was presenting differently. So that was really confusing for us.
What kind of
And
surgery
then
was it? Did it have anything to do with his brain or it was like a bowel surgery?
it was the bowel surgery.
That's so strange.
It's really strange. It's like so scary.
Yeah.
What was the timeline of this when he got to the unresponsive state? So went to the emergency room and then all this like is this in a matter of days or months or
It's a matter of like, I'd say week and a half. So he was fine the first 3 days and then started bleeding and then had to have these surgeries over the course of like kind of a week. And then after that last surgery is when he slipped into a coma. And that's what they deemed it. They were like, okay, so he must be in a coma because his imaging is fine, but he's presenting as if he's in a coma. So then he started having the cytrophic storms and his white blood like cells stopped working, was starting to attack his body.
they called
Uh,
them, did you say cytrophic?
yeah, is that the wrong name?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's a storm too. I had autonomic storming, but there's also sympathetic storming, but there might be psychotropic storming. I don't know. Adrian, how well
I
versed are
think
you in
there's
storms?
I'm gonna Google it right now. I think there's a cytokine storm.
It was
Well, any kind
it,
of body storm is probably horrible. So I can
This
relate.
is a cytokine storm, a severe immune reaction where the body releases excessive cytokines, rapidly leading to potentially dangerous inflammation. So if his white blood cells were attacking himself, this might have been what it
his
was.
white blood cell count got up to like 2,000, like crazy.
That's high.
Yeah. So then they did repeat imaging again, and they found that he had septic emboli in the brain, which is like when you get septic, you can throw a clot with your heart, and then can go up to your brain. So basically, like septic clots went to his brain and like shut down certain areas. But like the imaging still looked normal. It
It's
just looked like little sprinkles here and there, like a period on a sentence. Like it looked like little tiny, but he was still in this coma. So it was a big medical mystery, and all these people were like trying to figure out what was going on. But neurology, the entire time, was like, we think he's brain dead. Like, we
They
don't think,
they they use that term speaking to you.
yeah,
I don't know. Man, that's crazy. I mean, I overheard that term with those nurses speaking over me. That was the only time I heard that. And yeah, like what's interesting since I recovered and been speaking about this and did so much research. I mean, actual brain dead is death. I mean, saying brain dead is like saying a derogatory term. What they probably should have said is vegetative and disconnected from all reality, which I overheard that a lot too from neurology. Wow,
yeah.
they're telling you his
And
brain.
and I think the reason they said that is because the whole time he was in the coma, his eyes were open. He couldn't close his eyes, which
Hmm.
is so weird too. Like, it was another medical mystery. So then people were looking at him and he was presenting like he was, but he was in a coma. And then they'd say, "Oh, well, he's not reacting to my finger moving right now." And I'd be like, but he's in a coma though. And his
Right.
eyes are just open for some reason. And I had to like Google and be like, has this happened before? And it can happen. So he was in
It
that.
can definitely happen. I mean, I remember them trying to get me to track. So my eyes did a variety of things, involuntary vertical movements, as well as being closed and open. They just did what they wanted. But I remember them over me being like, follow this. And I'm like, in my head, I would love to, but I can't.
Yeah, no, that same thing was happening to him. It's crazy because like I could see he was in there. You know, when you're a family member and you're watching a loved one going through this, like you can still see them in there.
Okay, I want to talk about that. How?
Um, so me and his mom were with him, like we would take turns and we'd be like, I'd be in there from morning till lunch, and then she'd be in from lunch till night. And so there'd always be someone in the room like watching him. And we started to notice like little like he would like start to like look at us with his eyes. Or when he was doing that, what do they call it? Non something gaze, where you're like kind of scanning the room and you're just scanning the room.
I forget the name of it.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
There's like
Um,
a
no, I should know that. But it's escaping me. But go on, it might come to me.
so we started noticing like when his eyes would track around like that, that like they kind of would follow us, but then they wouldn't follow all the way. Like maybe they would follow to the
Okay,
center,
so he
but they
couldn't.
wouldn't follow.
Yeah, he couldn't
Yeah.
cross midline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the nurses would be like, "Yeah, but we don't know. Got to try it again." And then like they were like chewing it off like this family's, in the clouds or something. So
Looking for
All
anything.
yeah.
also in my experience, I was able to do that on occasion, like infrequently, but could never cross midline. And
That's so weird.
I think it's what happens when you have certain types of brain injuries and you just can't cross midline. Now where I am, I still have difficulty. Like I get if I'm trying to cross midline with my right arm to my left, I get more ataxic and shaky when I cross midline. So like things are more challenging in all states of recovery from a brain injury when you cross midline, whatever it is. But I mean, I'm just going back. Yeah, it's crazy. You're taking me right back to being locked in a.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
it's okay. I go there often in my own thought. I remember that feeling. And by the way, I would only track when with my eyes when I felt it to be very important. If something was said around me or a visitor came in that I cared about and loved. I mean, I didn't get many visitors as the world might know at this point for variety of reasons. But when I did, I'd be like, oh, I would like kind of come out of my internal thought process and be like, I should pay attention and try and track, and also other crazy shit would happen to me. Damn, I feel for that, and
Yeah.
I believe everything you're saying. The reason I asked you, how do you know? I think about being in a reverse role and looking at me. How the hell could I tell if this was my brother? Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting. It's crazy. Like, and that's why, like, listening to like your interviews and the podcast, listening to Blake, I was just like, this brings me so much comfort, because Travis is literally going through this right now, and it gives me hope that like he'll get better.
Is
So,
he official? Have they officially said that he's locked in? Is there anything, or like what happens
so
next, kind of?
sorry.
No, that's okay.
There's like there's like
Yeah.
so much. Yeah. Like as you know, Jake, it's like crazy. All the things that
It's
happen.
So many things,
there.
I'm sure.
It's
y-
a roller coaster.
How long has this been going on?
So it's been going on since February, but so he was in the coma and they were saying that he was brain dead pretty much, but the only reason why they couldn't deem him that was because he still had the pupil response. Like when they
Oh,
put
yeah.
a flashlight near his eye, his pupils would still go big. And so that's what we were holding on to. We were like, no, you can't deem him that because of this. And we could still see those like little correlations.
Okay, I just
So
wanted to say real quick, this is also fact that you can't call someone brain dead until they are fucking dead,
yeah,
like actually.
Yeah.
Um, but okay.
it's crazy. But, your story is bringing that to light, like, because not all health professionals think that way, you know? So Travis was in the coma all the way up till like probably end of March. So he went in February 3rd. And then end of March, he's out of the coma and has gone into a minimal conscious state, they deep. Because then he was starting to trap and he was starting to like do other things. So they did repeat imaging and all of that. And when they did that, they did find something wrong with the pod. So, and when you have locked in syndrome, it's usually something which is like right by the brain stem. Um, so they were calling it, sorry, what were they calling
I love that you have notes.
it? Thanks to his mom is amazing. She wrote
That's a good
a
thing
lot.
to do. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Just so
no,
you could keep
she's
track.
documenting everything. Let's see. It's called some pawn something demyelination. So it's not necessarily called locked-in syndrome.
Mhm.
Um, but they're saying, well, it might be locked-in syndrome because he can move his eyes horizontally and he's moving his mouth and he's able to like move like his mouth more and like his jaw,
Yeah.
which you
My
can't do when you're locked in.
my understanding of locked-in syndrome is you literally cannot do anything except involuntary vertical eye movements.
Yeah.
And that is truly locked in. Then when you start to do more whatever you're explaining, that's like something else, which is not great either. And then when you're able to flick a finger or slowly blink an eye or signal, you're virtually locked in. And then when you start learning like a single letter, whether it's a letterboard or whatever, if you're blinking or, sticking up a finger to the speech therapist, that is not like the beginning of nonverbal communication, but that is still very much virtually locked in. So it sounds like currently what you're talking about, he is crossing between locked in and virtually locked.
So a specialist came in and they said, we think he has critical care polyneuropathy and myopathy, which polyneuropathy is the nerves. So they think all of his nerves are disconnected from the brainstem. And then the myopathy is the muscles. So he has like zero muscle tone because he's been in bed since February. So they're saying critical care polyneuropathy and myopathy versus this demyelination of pods. So they've got like and neuro's like not involved at all. We had to fight them to like get those possible diagnoses.
Are they
So
doing
that's
range of motion or anything? Or is he like really contracted and
no, he's not contracted at all. The
interesting?
hospital's been horrible, sad to say, but they're not like this is a neuro case. Neuro's not involved at all.
Yeah, that's
And
very
we have to like
strange.
plead with them. Like,
Why is that, do you think? Is it an insurance thing? Is it they don't believe? Is it what is it?
so during all of this stuff with Travis, when he was first in that coma and they were like, he's brain dead, we were like, no, he's not, like, blah, blah, blah. And we started seeing all those little signs. And I listened to your podcast. I found it. I found your interviews on YouTube too. And I was like, look, it's like, this is proof that people can come out of this state, you know? Um, and so I was like buying books, listening to podcasts. Like I was doing all my extensive neuro research on all of this because neuro was like the book's written and that's the end of it. You know, that's the end of the story,
Wow.
folks. And that's just how they were. And we were like, no, it's been a total shit show.
Have
How
you guys
can
been
you
able to
get
get it changed back?
Yeah, he's changed back now. But
Okay.
not only did she change his code, but she said if he has is he needs extensive blood transfusion, he's not gonna get it. And
Wow.
then like limited his care. And then so we
That
get the
doesn't sound
call.
ethical.
It was so insane. So we get the call, he's bleeding. They're like, come to the hospital now. We're like, okay. We get there, they're like, go in the waiting room. So we're like, okay. We wait in the waiting room, and then the two surgeons come out. We're like, okay, what's happening? We're like thinking like, oh my God, he's dead. We've lost him. They bring us into this conference room and they're like, so we just want to let you know we reversed his code and blah, 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 blah. All this stuff. They're like, we've had lots of complaints from our staff and the staff on the floor that he just was in, the medical floor, saying, like, what are we doing? We're uncomfortable taking care of him. Like, blah, 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 blah. Basically, it was like, we're elongating his pain and suffering, and like was basically saying we were monsters for having Travis, who was at the time coming out of that coma and going into that minimal conscious state, doing things we haven't seen him done since he's been in the hospital. Finally, sticking his head above the water. And he starts throwing blood. And that's what they do. That's the surgeon's first response to the
Yeah,
situation.
that doesn't seem right at all. I feel like it's not up to the hospital to decide when it's time to.
It
That's
was,
like putting a patient on like comfort measures without the family's okay. You can't do that. You can't just withdraw care from a patient.
yeah. So I called the medical board and I called the president of the hospital because
Good
I
for
was like,
you.
WTF. I don't know if I can say the F word on
you
podcast.
I've said it like 9 times, which
Oh, yeah, you have. Sorry.
you can let it fly. You were probably like,
Yeah,
"What the fuck is going on?"
exactly. Like screaming from mountain. And so then the director of surgery team comes in and he's like, just to let you know, that's not what's going on. We're not going to change the code because we have access to the My Chart. So we saw everything she wrote. We saw
Mm-hmm.
what she did. And that's why I was like, I don't know what else to do but call the board of the president.
I'm just like, first of all, sorry.
Thank
Second of all, good on you for like catching that. And third of all, I'm thinking in my head, how scary is that you can be at any hospital in the US or not, and that can happen. And like if you weren't there, if you weren't on top of it, if you were like sick yourself, or if you don't have family, it's like God knows.
you. Yeah.
Um, and that's scary as hell. And yeah, holy
And
shit.
the crazy thing is, was he wasn't even internally bleeding. He just had a blood clot that happened to come out. So it looked like he was internally bleeding again, but he wasn't. He was just, it was a big blood clot.
They didn't even bother to look.
No.
They just did all these things.
Yeah. And then after all that happened, and the head surgeon guy comes in and was like, we're going to give him blood if he needs blood. Like, it's okay.
Okay,
They
so
were like, they were like, we can't do an endoscopy on him because he's medical futile or something. And because that's what that head surgeon had said. She said he can't have an endoscopy because he's medically futile. So she was even trying to say, like, we can't figure out the solution to the problem. It was just
I've never
like,
even heard that term, medically futile. That, like, never. That's wild.
we felt
So, like,
so like helpless.
Mhm.
so you contact the board, they're like change it around. It seems like the time frame is March, maybe we're into April. Or what's happening with Travis currently?
Um, right. So currently he is on that medical floor still. And he's being like taken care of. That wound where they had to like cut him up back in February is still healing, not 100% healed. And there's been all of these other things that have happened. Um, because he's like his he has blood clots. They had to give him the heparin shot. Someone gave him one in his stomach and created a hematoma. And now he has like fistula that's going through his stomach into his bowel. Like it's just like a horror show left and right happening right now. Like he was doing really good, and then all of a sudden all these things, but it's all stuff that like could be preventable isn't being prevented. Um,
Do you
And
ever
like,
think about changing the hospital, going to a different hospital?
we've been desperately trying to get there.
And it is how
Yeah.
what's, like, blocking that from happening?
He has he has an infection right now that's colonized but active. And so
Okay.
that's putting a barrier. But then also like we're from New Jersey. We moved up here years ago. His mom really wants to move him back to New Jersey. His mom's been staying with me this whole time. Um, so his mom really wants him in Jersey, and it makes sense because like a lot of his family is there and stuff. But he will receive much better care in Jersey than he would in Vermont. Like there's not a lot here for medical world. So um that's what we're trying to do. And right now they actually have a meeting tomorrow to see if the deal will go through and if he's going to go to the specialized hospital. But for brain wise, he answers questions like you could be like, who's the father of this psychological theory? And he would like look at the yes. He would like look at the correct
so he can move his neck,
his eyes, sorry.
eyes. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're holding up a picture board or something and he's tracking to the prompt correctly.
Yeah, his mom has a whiteboard and she like writes and the like different options every time he gets the right one. So he's like fully intact and fully with it. It's just like his body isn't moving.
That's the scariest thing in the world as somebody who's been there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It might be scarier witnessing it. I don't know.
It
How
is. Well, I wouldn't say it's scarier because I can't even imagine, how you and feel and felt. But it is really hard to watch that.
It's a very helpless
yeah.
place to be.
Yeah.
Is there any way you found to communicate with him?
So we use the yes or no cards a lot. So I just kind of like I ask questions, then he'll look at yes or no. Um, and he's funny because his face is getting expressive. So like if a loud respiratory therapist comes in and he like will roll his eyes and like get like expressive in the face. So like he like because you can see his personality a little bit.
Yeah.
Good to see that coming back because it was a really long time. He
I
was
mean, if it was similar to my experience, I never lost my personality or sense of humor. It's just I lost the ability to show it.
right.
So, well, it's really good to hear. It's also terrifying. And is
Yeah.
he in a lot of pain, you think? Or have you asked him?
He's so he was doing really good, but now that he has this fistula thing, he is in a lot of pain. And they said it's just a matter of time before that heals. He'll be better. But you know how you said in one of the episodes, like you never knew how painful it would be, like I guess when your nerves were starting to turn back on throughout your body.
Oh, yeah.
He's starting to feel like that too. Because we'll like ask, like, can you feel me touching down here? Like, can you feel the knee? And he'll say, like, yes. And sometimes if you go to like touch the arm, like he'll look at you like you're hurting him or something because it's
Hmm.
painful to touch.
Yeah.
Did you experience that? Like,
Yeah. I mean, I had
yeah,
so many different types of pain constantly, but I was so hypersensitive and still am, but during this time, if a nurse walked in the room and she created a light breeze, I could feel that. If I was covered and it would burn my skin. If I was covered in a blanket, it would feel like I was being crushed by a cinder block. I would get so hot from these storms, and I think they thought I was cold, and they would like load me up with more blankets. So I'm being crushed
Oh,
and I'm burning, and they had my arms under the blankets, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could like free the arms to get over, and it would still be horrible, but it'd be a little bit better. So yeah, as well as like constant medical crisis. It's like it felt like every 4 hours it was like a new thing. It was like, oh well, now I like the catheter no longer works. I don't know how to pee, so my bladder is like it feels like it's about to explode, or temperature, or like a crazy auditory sensation where everything is like super loud, and yeah, just never ending, never ending, never ending. And I was severely contracted, so that is granted I didn't move for longer than Travis, but still, I don't know if it was my disease progression, but I was becoming severely contracted month 3, and I could still kind of move and get out of bed. I was already becoming contracted, but when you're bedridden for a prolonged amount of time, typically you become very contracted. And that is interesting to me that the hospital isn't doing range of motion and he's not contracted. I mean, that
yeah,
sounds promising to me.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. He's like just really flaccid. Yeah,
no
they're
tone.
supposed to be. Yeah, they're supposed to be getting him like out of bed into this like big chair
Yep.
every day. Um, but the nurses don't do it always every day. But that's like his only form of therapy, right? Is that change of position into that chair. PT and OT do come in.
Yeah,
Um,
what do they do
and
though?
they do this like dangling with his feet over the bed. They'll like put him in position like he's sitting.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then they'll like put some of his body weight on one of his arms and shift like that to try to get the muscle tone.
At least they're coming in. I'm glad they're coming in.
Me too.
Gotta do something.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I really hope that you get to move him to whatever the specialized hospital is. It'll be much better.
Yeah, and as
Thank
I
you.
mentioned to you, I'm trying to reach out to my neuro contacts to see if there are studies because here in Boston, I know you heard the podcast. It's a chilling reminder for everyone. 20% of people in vegetative states or comas are likely locked in and with it. And it's a really good reminder to never give up hope, both for family, medical professionals, act as if they're in there fully. Eh, and yeah, I'm gonna do what I can to like see if there's some trial and MGH runs them because it is a very rare case, and I mean I just feel horrible for Travis and you and the rest of the family because what you told me about the hospital changing his DNR status and all this is I mean, it really, I'm gonna use the word, it sounds illegal. It really does.
I've
And
never heard
definitely
of
not
them
ethical.
being able to do that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. It's
I mean,
crazy.
Yeah.
You
even
invoke like a health proxy and then they make decisions. And then, it's not just like the hospital can just be like, oh, well, you know what? We're just going to let this one go. That's insane.
when I was in the hospital, I had, want to say, either a mayor or a congressman. All I know is it was someone pretty high up in California. And they reached out to me. They heard my story from the Guardian article. And this senator, whoever's brother, managed or owned or was the president of a facility. And he told me they had roughly 6 patients who have been, quote unquote, comatose, locked in, vegetative, whatever, for over 20 years, some of which
Oh my God.
had
Wow.
families, some of which didn't. And there was this ethical concern of at what point is enough is enough. There was no law in the book for someone that has no family. Do we just keep them alive forever? Is that inhumane after what amount of time? And then also there's this, he was telling me, because we had a call, um, very religious, faithful people, and they're around and they will never give up hope. But a lot of the staff is like, it's been 22 years and we feel that this is questionable at this point if, you know, they really should keep him alive. He was kind of asking me, what is the answer? I slept on it and I looked from my lens of what I was going through, and I came through the other end after 10 months. I think if I had the choice at month 6, I would say enough is enough. And that was my answer then. And then I wrote this response. I think 12 months, and I think you should get an attorney. I believe they call it an attorney at Latham, where it's somebody who comes in who has not like a family connection, who can look at the best interest of the patient, take in all the information and make a determination. I think that's probably what you should consider. And then I hit send and I immediately was like, actually, no, can I take that back? Everyone's situation is different. So I was answering this from what I experienced, but if you're in a minimal conscious state, locked in, and you're pain free, and you think you're living the best day on the beach in Aruba drinking margaritas, I mean, that sounds like arguably that's better than some people's, 9 to 5 every day. If you're in this chronic pain, also, I don't want to be that guy who's making the decision for the population. I mean, I'm happy to weigh in on my thoughts.
That's a big
Anyway,
question.
it was a big
Yeah.
question. It was also
Yeah.
California lawmaker or something.
Oh my
What should we
God.
do about this? And it never really went anywhere past. Also, I want to ask you a few things. How are you doing?
You know, much like Travis and his roller coaster, like I am very much on my own roller coaster of emotions. Watching him go through this, supporting my daughter. I was just started a new job, and I actually am a counselor. So like
Hmm.
I just graduated from a master's program counseling people to better themselves. And I never thought in the be- in the beginning of this that like something like this would ever happen to me. So that's also been like a weird little journey too, you know, because it's just I never in a million years thought anything like this would happen. Uh, I'm doing the best I can. I'm trucking along, you know, see up as much as I can, uh, and also, do everything I can for my daughter and all of that. But it is a lot.
It's
but I can't
definitely a
imagine
lot.
how he feels, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and this is your high school sweetheart. This is like your person.
My
Must,
best
you know,
friend. Yeah.
best
It's
friend.
like, yeah, anything happens. Like I hear an old lady fart in the grocery store, you know, I text him, guess what I just heard? You know? Like
Oh,
he's the
yeah.
person I would text about everything and now like so it's hard. Yeah.
As a counselor, and maybe I'm jumbling counselor and therapist, what advice would you give to a client who was going through something similar?
I would just say that you need to take time for yourself too, because oftentimes when you're in that caregiver role, you're so deep in it and that's all you see, you can lose yourself during that process. So I think it's important to also, you know, maybe it's 5 minutes a day, maybe it's 10 minutes a day, whatever time you can give to focus also on yourself. Maybe it's like a face mask at night or little things like that to find and also, you know, make sure you're taking care of yourself while you're also taking care of your.
Are
Yeah,
you
that caregiver
taking
role
your
is
own
tough.
advice?
I think I am. My escape is like books right now. I'm a big like nerd, so I like read them and I'm like, okay, I'm like in this world now, you know. So how I'm like coping is through books. Yeah.
Adrian, do you want to ask anything before I have one more?
Um, no, I don't know if I have any questions right now. I feel for you though. It's a really
Thank you.
honestly crappy thing to have to go through. And no one in a
Thank
million years would ever think that would happen to them. And I'm sorry that that's happened to you guys.
Thank you. And I do want to add, like, too, that we have been asking Travis continuously, like, are you okay with this situation? Do you still want to? You know, because it is hard and I can't even imagine how he feels. So we're also like honoring him and like what he wants to. So like I don't want you guys to think that we're not thinking of our part. No.
I never thought that.
I didn't either. I didn't either. At least he's in a place where he can respond and tell you.
I
Yeah.
do have one more question before I give you the chance to ask me anything you want. Why did you want to come on and tell your story? And I know that you checked in with Travis if this was okay, and perhaps you have an answer for him as well. But if not, why did you want to come?
I wanted to come on uh, because your story, hearing it, brought me like so much comfort and hope while I was actively going through this situation and while Travis is actively going through this situation. So I think the more people can hear that, you know, they're maybe not the only ones going through this right now, whether them or their loved one, you know, in a situation that could be the same or like it, you know, you never know what can happen. Um, and so I think it's great to share those stories and have them out there because that builds connection and it builds hope.
And it brings
Thank you.
awareness. The more awareness, the
And
better.
yes, yeah,
There's something you just said that when I hear people going through it and I still go through it, it's not like I'm back to Jake, even though light years away from the hospital. I feel an element of when I know you're going through this, right? And I know you've heard my story. I almost feel bad, and it's not survivor's guilt, really, but maybe there's something like that. But is there somebody in the world who's why that fucking asshole and not my Travis, you know?
no, no,
I feel that though. I really do. I feel because I have people from all over the world reach out to me for advice, and they're always very thankful for my response and appreciative of your story. Gives me so much hope, but deep down, I'm really like, I feel, I feel bad that I'm in this place where, and then every now and again, it's like I'll get a card or email, and it's like, Mark actually passed away, and I just want to let you know that it was really meant a lot to our family. I don't even know how to explain how I feel, but
So in psychology, there's this thing called the imposter syndrome. And
Mhm.
it's like when you're maybe like you've gone to school to become a teacher and now you're a teacher and you're like, I can't be a teacher. Like, I don't know how to teach. Like, your psyche and your brain always has that chasing you. Like, no, this can't. I think it's something with the imposter syndrome. You're like, you're thinking those thoughts, but I don't want you to believe, you know? I don't want you
yeah,
to go to that place. But for some reason our brains do that. They make up those little ideas, and I think everything happened for a reason, and I think your story is a really inspiring one. You are the perfect person to tell your story, and you're the only person to tell your story. And you're doing a kick-ass job at
thank,
it.
thank you, thank you. I do want
He's
to
doing all
give
right.
you thank you, A. I do want to give you the chance to, you answered all my questions very candidly and openly, and I do want to give you the chance to ask me anything you might want to ask me, and you can really ask whatever you want.
Um, so one of my questions was like, what where was there something that you noticed that was the first thing that like moved or shifted within you when you became out of that locked in state? Like, and you touched about it a little bit on Blake. I wasn't sure, like,
When you say shifted in me, do you mean like inside or physically?
I think both.
So physically, when I made that first movement and I was noticed, I didn't know what I was doing. Uh, and I didn't think I was able to do it again. I didn't think it was until I heard, oh wow, he's doing it. Now, what that did to me internally is that gave me so much hope because oh my God, it's happening. And somebody believes I'm here now, and this was my one shot to do it again, and now I'm noticed. But just like our brains do, it gave me so much hope, but I went to that. Wonder if they don't this, and wonder if I don't get transferred to a rehab. And then when I got to that nonverbal letterboard stage, okay, this is amazing. I went from stuck for 10 months and now I can spell out pain or whatever. But shortly after that, it became very frustrating because if I spelt out itch, the follow up is where. And then by the time I say neck, it's the itch has traveled to my forearm. And
Ah,
so it was
shoot.
a nightmare. But I would say it just gave me more hope that I escaped that level and got to this level, and I kept being like, I'm gonna get to that next level. I'm gonna get to that next level. I'm a realist. I never know if I actually would, but and I had ups and downs and ups and downs. And I think if I had a cheerleader by my side, like someone like you who was coming in and they were like, you got this. You're gonna like you're coming home. That would have now I wanted it badly anyway, but I went down in the dumps and then back out and I think having a cheerleader and then also I know you didn't really ask me this, but overhearing like negativity
Oh,
from
yeah.
medical staff really affected me, but it also gave me like kinda it sounds like Travis's personality is a little bit like mine, where it kinda gave me like, "Okay, fucker, Imma prove you wrong." but like it
Get
did
better out
hurt
of
me.
spite.
Yeah, it did hurt me a bit.
Right.
But I would say like physical shifts didn't come till mid 2019, which was like 8 months after I got to that nonverbal letterboard level. And that was like when things started moving again, like micro little finger movements or wrist things. And then I was like, oh yeah, this is like happening.
And could you start to feel it like, the more it happened?
Yeah.
Like, because the first time you said you didn't even know you did it.
Yeah, no, I would feel it.
That's awesome.
I would feel it.
That gives me like a lot of hope for Travis because, yeah, it's
Keep
just,
keep the positivity up for him. Yeah.
And keep
I'm sure
advocating
you
for him
do.
too.
yeah.
Let's get him out of that hospital.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Sending all the good vibes for
um,
the meeting tomorrow.
thank you. And
definitely.
they are training him on the eye gaze. I forgot to say that. They're training him on that. He's only done it twice, but it's so like slow. Like you gotta stare at it for like 5 seconds and then it's like banana, so I think he's getting frustrated with that because they can make it faster, but like he's like looking at it and then he's like looking over here. So
Yeah.
A
Doesn't quite
little
have the
advice on
control
that.
yet.
A little
yeah.
advice on that. Just keep up the you know, there are plenty of different systems, nonverbal communication systems, and when it comes to advocating, just keep being like, let's try this, do your research, and you'll get to a place where somebody is like, you get like a really sick SLP who knows like more than ChatGPT, and they'll be like, let Travis might be good on this thing. And then it's like all of a sudden he spits out paragraphs real quick. Yeah, sending good vibes. Is there anything you would like to plug? Where how people can find you, or I don't know if there's like a GoFundMe or any asks for the world.
Um, there is a GoFundMe. I don't have. I can give you the link. Can I give you the link to put in
Yeah,
the show
yeah.
notes?
Just
Okay.
email.
And then my Instagram is Ashberry Daniels, on Instagram. So if anybody wants to reach out and maybe give advice or if you have someone in mind or something, um, feel free to message me. And yeah, very grateful and thankful that you had me on. And hopefully one day Travis will be talking again. Maybe he can come on as a guest. That would be so cool.
That would
That
be
would be
awesome.
that'd be the craziest thing ever, and we would definitely love that. I just want to give a reminder again: don't give up on your comatose, vegetative, quote unquote, disconnected from reality family members, patients, because the fact is you never know. And evidence now shows 20, possibly even 30% of folks, they know more about the ocean and the moon combined than they know about our own brains. So
It's
we don't
insane.
know
Hmm. You
technology
never
and
know.
and what we're
You
finding
never
out
know.
about the brain is evolving. So
It's amazing.
It is
So
amazing.
amazing.
It's pretty wild. Brains are wild.
They are.
thank you so much. And we're gonna wrap this up.
You
Thank
want
you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
do you
You
want to
are
do your
welcome.
outro?
Definitely.
Do you have thoughts
All right.
today? Do you have random thoughts today?
Yeah, a random thought. Last night was how I was hungry, but tonight I've been thinking about, oddly enough, my toes. And I think it's really strange that through everything I've been through, my toes are longer than they used to be. And I've just been thinking about why that is.
Strange.
They are long. They are as long as my fingers. I call them lingers. No, sorry,
That's
tingers,
awful.
tingers. Toe fingers, tingers.
Like a sloth.
They have long toes.
They do.